Hi, I'm Stacey Lawson, and I'm an OG Austinite. I believe that understanding politics at the local and state level is essential to building a healthy democracy. It's why I'm such a fan of Progress Texas. They make complex issues clear, accessible, and engaging for everyday Texans. I choose to financially support Progress Texas monthly because independent media, free from corporate stakeholders and profit motives, is more important than ever before. Supporting Progress Texas means supporting truth, accountability, and a stronger democracy overall.
Thank you, Stacey. It's Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Texas is bracing for ice this weekend, actual real ice, and we'll get to that, but the ice that's been on our minds more prominently lately is also in the news as a third recent death has been reported at the Camp East, Montana Ice Detention Facility at Fort Bliss in El Paso. Julia Conley at Common Dream says Texas and Minnesota officials are demanding a full investigation into what's going on there following 3 detainee deaths in just 2 months. 36-year-old Victor Manuel Diaz is the third of those. He was found unresponsive in his cell on January 14th, and while ICE has brushed it off as a presumed suicide, the cause of Diaz's death remains under investigation. This adds to the possible homicide of Geraldo Lunas Campos, reported on last week after witnesses in the camp reported guards choking him. And a third detainee, Francisco Gaspar Andres, died in December in that same facility from organ failure. And the crosshairs of all of this is Acquisition Logistics, a small company that was awarded a $1.2 billion contract to run this camp despite having no prior detention operations experience. Federal inspectors have recently identified 60 violations at the site, including inadequate medical monitoring and restricted legal access, with 32 deaths in 2025, marking the deadliest year for ICE detainees in 2 decades. Critics, including Charles Idelson of National Nurses United, have compared these facilities to death camps. El Paso Congresswoman Veronica Escobar has called for the for-profit Camp East Montana to be, quote, shut down immediately. 2 deaths in 1 month means conditions are worsening, unquote. And similar calls are coming from ICE-occupied Minnesota, whose Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan has called for a, quote, complete and transparent investigation. We deserve answers, unquote. The Texas Tribune covers what Texans should expect and be mindful of when it comes to ICE activity here in the Lone Star State. Colleen de Guzman at the Trib says Texas is not immune to the outrage that's building over the aggressive presence of ICE on our streets, and that the agency has been especially aggressive right here in Texas, with some of the biggest raids taking place in and around Houston. Back in May, ICE reported the capture and deportation of more than 900 people in the Houston area in roughly 1 week, and this last October, they conducted another massive Houston raid over the course of 10 days, arresting more than 1,500 people. The most common way ICE agents have been targeting suspected undocumented immigrants in Texas is via cooperation with local criminal justice systems. And again, Houston is in the lead here, too. The Harris County Jail leads the entire country in enforcing ICE detainers. ICE has also lately been stepping up the tactic of intercepting immigrants who have shown up for court hearings or routine immigration appointments. That's been happening all over the place, from El Paso to San Antonio to Dallas. More on your rights should you get crossways with an ICE agent in Texas. Linked from the Texas Tribune in the show notes. Also from the Trib, your hero Ken Paxton thought it would be cute and funny to use diversity, equity, and inclusion policies to attack his Republican opponent and incumbent Senator John Cornyn on MLK Day yesterday, dropping a long-winded legal opinion that a wide range of Texas initiatives meant to offset historical discrimination against people of color and women are unconstitutional, which of course has zero legal teeth, as the Attorney General does not have the authority to unilaterally overturn state laws simply by declaring them unconstitutional, which Cornyn said in his response. Which side MAGA Republican primary voters will listen to on this one, you think? They're also certainly entertained by Paxton's use of AI to conjure up a fake video of Cornyn dancing with Democratic challenger and Dallas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in a Cornyn attack ad late last week meant to exploit bipartisan cooperation between those two lawmakers. Adam Schwager at KXAN reporting on this comments that the use of AI-generated fake video in this ad is, quote, obvious to the average observer, unquote, which I might argue that Ken Paxton's fans are generally not the people I would expect to meet such a lofty standard as average observers. This to me opens a can of worms, as the Paxton ad carries an AI video disclaimer, but as it turns out, it doesn't have to. Schwager writes that under Texas law, there are basically no legal restrictions on the use of generative AI in political materials outside of laws that cover all AI-generated content. Multiple attempts to specifically outlaw the use of AI in political ads via legislation from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, including Dallas State Senator Nathan Johnson, Brenham State Senator Lois Kolkhorst, and former House Speaker Dade Phelan, have all failed to make the governor's desk. In short, as this midterm election year ramps up, fake AI video is largely fair game in political ads in Texas. Republican State Rep Cole Hefner of Mount Pleasant has been letting the ugly hang way out there on Twitter lately. He's up in arms about an Islamic Games event scheduled for this May at Colleyville Heritage High School by an organization that's grown from its founding in New York City in 1989 into a premier multi-location Muslim sports and athletic event across North America, holding large-scale amateur sports tournaments designed as multi-sport festivals that bring together thousands of athletes and their families, focused on but not exclusive to the Muslim community across the U.S., including in Chicago, New Jersey, Michigan, and yes, in Texas. This event in May will actually be at least the third annual Islamic Games held in Colleyville, but that's apparently news to Rep. Hefner, who is, quote, calling on GCISD to immediately cut ties with these sponsors and put student safety, community values, and national security ahead of political correctness, unquote. And I think he meant ahead of religious freedom there at the end, but whatever. Listeners interested in supporting or participating in the event in Colleyville coming up in May can learn more at islamic-games.com. Houston's got one coming up, too, in October. As we wrap this morning, and with big live political events coming up late this week and into this weekend, at Progress Texas, we are watching the weather. A combination of sub-freezing temperatures and high precipitation chances is coming across much of the state starting Friday and rolling through Sunday. Plenty to make Texans very nervous about the heat and light staying on this time. It's not only the statewide power grid, which of course ERCOT says is ready for the weather, but local problems are well known in both Houston and Austin, as freezing rain toppling trees into power lines has become in those places just as likely. Right about now is the time to be preparing for the possibility of a power outage amidst freezing weather this weekend, wherever you might be in Texas. We think we'll beat the weather on Thursday in DFW as we invite you to join us for a debate hosted by the Richardson area Democrats between two of the Dems running for Texas Attorney General. Attorney and former Galveston Mayor Joe Jaworski and the aforementioned Dallas State Senator Nathan Johnson, hosted by journalist James Barragan at the Dallas College Richland campus on Thursday night, January 22nd. Link for your required RSVP can be found in our show notes this morning. Reminder to our friends in Houston's Congressional District 18 and Tarrant County's 9th State Senate District that early voting for both of those special election runoffs starts tomorrow, Tuesday, January 21st. Election day is Saturday, January 31st. And we wish we could vote too. A special election runoff in a midterm year is likely to see low turnout, which means your vote counts huge. Meanwhile, you also need to confirm your registration to vote in the March primary by Monday, February 2nd, and early voting in the primary will start on February 17th. That's all coming up soon. See the show notes for Texas 2026 March primary ballot form from the Texas Tribune that you can use right now with your home address to see who's running in the primary in which you choose to vote. Everything you need to be sure your registration is in order can be found at govotexas.org. Our mission at Progress Texas is to improve and save Texans' lives by acting on our shared, bold, progressive values, and that starts with countering the billionaire and corporate-funded disinformation machine. While we enjoy the support of hundreds of partners, chances are that you, dear listener, haven't joined the team yet. If you're a regular, let's get you on board like John Adebayam, Leslie Berry, and Jennifer Barnes all have. We appreciate all of you very, very much. Join them and the team at progresstexas.org. We're expanding our top-rated podcast network to include Spanish-speaking media to increase the reach of our progressive messages daily. Hit the link in the show notes to make your donation towards Spanish media expansion at Progress Texas today. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, January 20th, 2026. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit rapid response media organization. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning.